Hello everyone, welcome to another Poetry with Drew, and today we're going to be talking about similes, and I have another workshop that I created on my own that I'd love to share with you. So let's check it out. I've got some music playing in the background, courtesy of YouTube. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not, but let's go. So, like I said, we're talking about similes today. So, first thing that I always want to do is I want to define the concept that we're working with, right? So, a simile is going to be used to compare two different things using like or as. So, for example, we might have something like the plane plummeted like a comet, or yesterday was as cold as my ex's breakup text. Some of the uses that we have for similes. Similes are great for bringing in images, and they're also wonderful bringing in the five senses. For example, taste. The stew tasted like ambrosia. And just in case you don't know, ambrosia was considered to be a delicacy in the Greek times, and it was prized among Greek gods. Smell. The place stinks like my worst decisions. So, bad decisions or smell. Sight. The sunrise looks like new opportunities. Sound. The bound sounds like a cacophony of angry cats. Or touch. That meeting went as smooth as a roller coaster. So we have a bunch of different ways of bringing in images to describe the things that we're talking about. And we can connect those images. Images are really just things that play with the five senses. So, like I said, taste, smell, sight, sound, and touch. So, a couple of things that I want to make sure that we know for our workshop are the prerequisites. So, a couple of definitions that I want people to know is, well, number one, you're going to need to have something to read or write with. And number two, you're going to need to know nouns and adjectives. So nouns are people, places, things, and ideas. And adjectives describe nouns. So adjectives are going to answer questions like what size, shape, color, quality, age, or worth. So, workshop step one, relatively simple. I want you to look around the room and write down a list of 5 to 10 nouns, things that are in the room. For me, I might say something like guitar, or computer, or camera, or microphone. For this list that I generated, I wrote down cat, chair, flag, shirt, and courthouse. The next thing that we're going to do is generate a list of 5 to 10 adjectives that can describe the nouns that you've just written down. So, wonderful, jealous, bright, torn, or old. All of these words could be used to describe the other nouns in this list, and so we also want to keep that in mind. Something that's helpful to remember is that color adjectives are not the best ones for this workshop, though they can be used to great effect in different ways. So, step two, we're going to rearrange our noun and our adjective pairs so that they form the beginning of a simile. For example, what I mean by that is a cat as wonderful as something. A chair as jealous as. So as you can see, I'm just taking my adjective and I'm rewriting it so that it forms the first part of a simile using as. A flag as bright as. A shirt as torn as. A courthouse as old as something. So now what I want to do with this third step of the workshop is I want to complete the simile with a new thought. A cat as wonderful as something new. What is something that's wonderful but not cat related? And this is where I can really get the wonder of poetry to shine. So for example, a cat as wonderful as my best friend's smile. So now I have this idea of this cat that is just wonderful, and obviously I have my friend's smile in high esteem. Now, if I said that in a different way, a cat is wonderful as my best friend's smile, that might sound a little bit sarcastic. And that will go into performance, but you don't necessarily need to think about right now. But in order to complete this workshop, what you want to do is, like I said, complete the beginning of the simile, a cat as wonderful as blank, with a new part, with a completion of the simile. So I'm going to complete the rest of these examples. A chair as jealous as depression is of laughter. A flag as bright as promises our country hasn't lived up to yet. A shirt as torn as the last poem I couldn't write. Or a courthouse as old as people's desire to tell a good story. With this workshop, something that I love to do, something that I love what it does, is it brings out new ideas that are very, very based in imagery. And I think that that's a fantastic thing to be able to do with a poem. So, my closing thoughts. I want to remind ourselves that one of the reasons that I'm doing this series is so that people can have, one, a pretty good source of workshops to be able to write poems to, and two, to have a little bit better understanding of basic grammatical or grammar functions of the English language, because they're not always super apparent. Which is the reason that I spent a little bit of time on nouns and adjectives today. So I really appreciate you checking out this video, and I hope that this workshop serves you well in the future. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns or any topics that you want to have a lesson written on, let me know. I appreciate you. Bye.